is up, all my dorks, nerds, geeks, and gamers? It's your host, Ghost here, and you're watching a brand new episode of Dorks Den Movie Minute. Today we're going to be discussing and reviewing Peacemaker episodes 1 and 2. Starting off with episode 1, entitled A Whole New World, which world spelled like world as in spun around or confused. So yeah, this one is basically 100%, this series is 100% a continuation of the Suicide Squad series from James Gunn, who directed that movie. He is now continuing on to direct the Peacemaker series with John Cena because, you know, he was in the movie and he helped direct that as well. So he knows the characters more than anyone else. And I gotta say right off the bat, I'm really loving this series. I'm loving this a whole lot more than I am the Book of Boba Fett over on Disney Plus because of the adult humor. And not only the humor, but the action scenes and the camaraderie of the team itself. They all play off each other really well. And John Cena is actually a really surprise hit of a TV star. Someone who can actually act surprisingly better than I thought he ever could. And it's not just the serious roles he can nail, but it's also the comedy. He's very funny, hilarious. He plays off everyone really, really well. And then the world and the setting they dropped John Cena's character in Peacemaker, it fits really well with the DCEU. We're seeing the more civilian side of things, of how they deal with things, such as Peacemaker's father being a racist and all this other things, and how that ties into the DCEU as a greater whole. So starting off with episode 1, A Whole New World, we see Peacemaker wake up after being shot at the end of Suicide Squad. He's basically a little bit hesitant on leaving his hospital room because he doesn't know if he's free from Waller or if she's going to come after him somehow, some way, which she does eventually. But yeah, so basically he's a little bit scared. He's talking to this janitor who he apparently knows already from, I believe, from the Suicide Squad. And they are, you know, going back and forth about, can I go free, can I not, blah, 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 this and that. Eventually he gets out of the hospital, and we are introduced to Amanda Waller's daughter, who is basically in charge of doing all the behind-the-scenes things for Waller without the other members of the team knowing about it. But she's also supposed to be Peacemaker's handler and take care of him and make sure he's doing what he's supposed to be doing while out in the field, because we got to remind ourselves, these are criminals that they are taking out into the civilian population to do a job they need to do for them, regardless on if they live or die. So it's still very much a Suicide Squad series, just very much focused on Peacemaker. So after that, we get Peacemaker back at his house. He's basically reminiscing about things. He's checking out on Eagly. He's very happy to visit Eagly and all this. So yeah, but then he gets surrounded by Waller's men, who are basically surround the house, and they basically and the big John, the big dude from the behind the desk guy, and Hardcore, the blonde with the black suit. They surround him and Waller's daughter. They basically tell him that you know, he's gonna work for them, and that they're gonna be looking into this Project Butterfly, which we know nothing about, and that he has no choice, or else he's gonna go back to jail and spend the rest of his time there for all the crimes he did earlier. So basically, in the best interest of himself and the team, he decides to, yes, he's going to team up with them to find out what this Project Butterfly is all about, and he's gonna stop it. After that, we get then Peacemaker going to his dad's house. We meet his dad a little bit. We find out he was a racist. He was a very evil person. But he's the one that provides the helmets for Peacemaker. So we get him meeting the father figure. We see him go down to the basement and let Peacemaker pick out a new helmet. He ends up picking the Sonic Boom helmet, where you turn it on and he says Sonic Boom, and of course, boom, it goes off. And there's all that. So yeah, he gets his car, he gets his Eagle, he gets his helmet, all this from his dad, and then he goes back to his house to discuss the team with what the next steps are at Project Butterfly. The team ends up going to the bar afterward, while Hardcore and Peacemaker end up going to the bar afterwards. He hits on her very awkwardly, and all that stuff. She decides that she's not really into him anyway, so she decides to go her own separate way. So he ends up meeting another girl at the bar. They end up having sexual relationship. At that point, she snaps on him and attacks Peacemaker in her apartment building. This random chick that he met at the bar, and it's this crazy fight. She slices him with a knife. The music's amazing, of course, with James Gunn being involved. You know it's going to be. Turns out that this female that he was fighting has a butterfly in her. He eventually kills her by she ends up chasing Peacemaker all the way out to his car. He plans on running away from her, getting in the car and dipping out. And that's when she surrounds him, and he uses the sonic boom helmet to blast her, and I mean blast her. He literally turns her into a red mist all over the rest of the cars. And yeah, so that's the end of episode 1, and he's basically stuck there scared. He's like, what is going on here? And then that's when he sees the butterfly fly out of her head, out of the disintegrated body, and fly away. And he's like, okay, Project Butterfly, that makes sense. We then watch episode 1. I give a 9 out of 10. Very solid start. Very strong start with the action sequences and the introduction to the characters and the twists and the turns in that very first episode is very entertaining. And I definitely cannot wait to see where episode 2 leads. So a 9 out of 10 for episode 1. Episode 2 is Best Friends for Never. Another very strong episode. This one is more centered on Vigilante and Peacemaker's friendship and teamwork and all this other things. So we start off with Peacemaker, who is now the center of attention after using this sonic boom helmet. So there's this huge explosion. There's red mist, blood everywhere. He sees down the road all these cops are starting to converge on his area. So he basically contacts the team. I need to get out of here. What can I do? How do I get out of this situation? And it basically leads to him running through this apartment building, being told from Hardcore and the other members of the team where to go. He runs into this very hilarious couple, which eventually comes back at the end of the episode to tie into bigger plot storylines down the road. But yeah, eventually the team does help him escape. He takes this, like I said, he takes this couple hostage. The one girl eventually comes back and sleeps with him later on in the episode, at the very end of the episode. But yeah. His dad ends up getting arrested because the IT guy linked the car's license plate to Peacemaker. So they actually end up arresting the dad for all the crimes that Peacemaker has done. So that was another great twist in the very second episode to start leading towards these bigger reveals down the line. After that, we find out his dad's a cultist. He's in the jail, you know, and he gets all his old teammates, his old white supremacist teammates, to really take care of him while he's in the prison, which was actually very surprising to see because I didn't know he still had that kind of power as a villain in the jail system, but he did. So it was very awesome to see how the villains interact in the jail system in the DCEU. We then meet Vigilante, who is one of my favorite characters in this whole series. He's very hilarious, and he plays off of John Cena really well. And they have a really, really strong chemistry as like this friendship group. But we meet him when Peacemaker's crying or whatever. They basically get together and they blow a whole bunch of stuff up in episode 2. You're
the only one I got.
And yeah, that's basically all that really happens for the main point. But this one mainly was all about introducing Vigilante and getting that relationship settled between him and Peacemaker. So that way episode 2 and 3 they can really start to destroy that relationship between those two. And hopefully lead to bigger and better storylines between them. But that was Best Friends for Never, episode 2 of Peacemaker. I give it a solid 9 out of 10, just like I did episode 1. So episode 1, A Whole New World, and episode 2, Best Friends for Never of Peacemaker, both get a 9 out of 10. I loved both episodes. I thought they were a very strong start to what is going to be hopefully a very good series. But we'll have to wait and see how this eventually turns out and plays out down the line. But let me know down below what you guys thought of Peacemaker episodes 1 and 2. Are you guys enjoying the series so far or not? Do you think it's a good step in the DCU to do more of these adult shows, but still keeping them connected to the DCU? Let me know down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, or share, and as always, guys, keep it right here on Dorks Den. I've been your host, Ghost. Adios.